Have you ever asked yourself what keeps families strong? My name is Cynthia Lietz. I'm professor at the School of Social Work at Arizona State University, and we recently completed a study that examined the process of family resilience for families who provide foster care. There are over 400,000 children and youth in the foster care system across the United States. Foster parents provide an essential function by providing care for these children and youth at a time at which their own families are unable to ensure their safety or well-being. Foster parents talk about this as an incredibly meaningful and impactful opportunity for them and for their families, but it's also important to acknowledge that there's a great deal of coping and adaptation that is required for those who foster. The construct of resilience is typically used to describe or explain situations of which individuals overcome adversity. Typically taking a developmental approach, we often look at young people who have successfully transitioned to adulthood despite experiencing risk factors such as poverty, loss, or trauma. Family resilience now takes a systems approach and looks at the family as a unit of analysis and looks at the risk factors that predict negative outcomes such as breakup or discord of the family unit, but also looks at the strengths or the protective factors that help families to stay strong. To identify a sample of 20 resilient foster families, we partnered with our public child welfare system in one state. Each of the 20 families was invited to participate in 2 lengthy, in-depth qualitative interviews. Essentially, we just had a few open-ended questions, and those questions were used to prompt storytelling so that narratives of successful stories of fostering could emerge. The findings from this study corroborated previous research that sees family resilience as an adaptational process. It involves 5 phases and the activation of 10 family strengths that help families to overcome difficulties that they face. So the families in this study talked about a couple things. They talked about first social support. So social support is the practical and emotional support that people receive from neighbors, from friends, and even from professionals working in the child welfare system. When their needs were met and when they had a place to emotionally debrief and problem solve the things that they were facing as foster parents, they were able to sustain for an extended period of time. Things like commitment to their family and commitment to fostering absolutely help them push through and sustain even when things got tough. Things like flexibility. So foster families require a great deal of flexibility. They've got to be creative. They have to adjust their homes, the physical environment, their schedules, and a lot has to happen as they invite a new member into their family. And finally, appraisal. They talked about appraisal, which is the ability and willingness to attach positive meaning to the difficult experiences that we face. And so these foster families had incredible things to talk about, ways in which their own children grew more compassionate, ways in which they came to understand the world in new ways, the joy that they experienced when they got to see a child or youth experience a success, and even the idea that their family grew closer around this shared mission of fostering was talked about as important. So I hope that you'll take some time to read this article, Cultivating Resilience in Families Who Foster. And I want to thank my co-authors, Jennifer Geiger from the University of Illinois at Chicago, Megan Hayes from Wayne State University, and Francie Julien-Chinn, who's here with me at Arizona State University. Thank you for your work on this study. I also want to thank the foster parents who shared their meaningful stories with us, and a special thanks to all foster parents across our nation who provide care for vulnerable children.